everyone. Welcome, welcome. So I'm excited to welcome Navarrow Wright, the marketing expert specializing in faith-based businesses. He's going to share his knowledge on effectively promoting your business while staying true to Christian principles. That seems to be something that comes up a lot with our business owners trying to market in line with Christian values. So in this session, you'll learn about best practices in marketing for faith-driven entrepreneurs, modern advertising techniques to reach a target audience, and strategies to grow your business while maintaining alignment with your faith. So this is essential discussion for anyone looking to elevate their kingdom business. So everyone, please give a warm welcome for Navarrow Wright.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that great introduction. Great to be here with my home church, my home people at Victory in Christ Christian Center. All right, so we are going to jump right in. Let me get myself situated here. You guys see my screen okay? Okay, cool.
It looks like you're starting
faded.
Oh, oops.
It did what again?
It's faded. I can't see
hold
it.
on. I don't know why. Hold on. Let's figure this out. Let me come back on. Oh, you know what? Let me take off. I know why. It's
Your
this
background. I think it's the background.
This background mess. Hold on. Is that better? Let me see. Is that better?
Yes,
Fantastic.
that's perfect.
All right. Okay, so as you guys heard today, we're going to talk about how to grow your business. I put a specific title on this because there's some specific things I wanted to focus on with you guys today. And really, those are the 3 mistakes businesses make when trying to market and grow their business. And then I'm going to share the secrets to fixing those mistakes to help you create a business that has an impact on you and the people that you are meant to serve. So really, my goal today is to help you guys understand some of the ways that you can grow your business almost immediately and do it in a way that's authentic and aligns to you on how you want to grow your business and the reason God gave you your business in the first place. So that's my goal. And my hope is that if you stay to the end, you'll walk away with actionable insights that you can use almost immediately to start growing your business. So what makes this different? Well, I think the main thing that makes this different is that I've been doing this for a really long time. I've been involved in technology for about 30 years, and I've been blessed to work with some of the biggest brands in the entertainment business, BET, Radio One. I held an executive role at Facebook. I've also been blessed to work with some of the biggest names in gospel in the world: Israel Houghton, the Clark sisters, Kiara Sheard, Fred Hammond, Erica Campbell, and really helping them use a lot of the tactics that we're going to talk about today. Some of the projects I've worked on with them is during the pandemic, I helped all of them do virtual concerts that allowed them to keep their ministry going when our doors were closed. Israel Houghton in particular, we did a Feels Like Home virtual concert that not only was a 6-figure concert, but that album he shot in his house during the pandemic was nominated for a Grammy. Most recently, Erica Campbell is doing the Laugh, Cry, Heal conference tour. I'm actually partnering with her and doing all the online stuff there. I've also helped small businesses, and in addition to public figures, leverage technology to grow their business using Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, building out membership communities, doing marketing automation, doing paid advertising. And I've worked with numerous churches during the pandemic to keep their doors open. And what I'm most proud of is being partnered with Victory on their online ministry since I walked in the door about 11 years ago. So I've been blessed to do a lot of things right, but at the same time, I've done a lot of things wrong, right? I've learned throughout these 30 years, as technology has evolved to 30 years ago, we wouldn't even have had this conversation. Zoom didn't even exist when I started in this industry. I've learned the hard way and discovered that those hard things, and I've been able to go through them and learn them. So tonight, you're going to be able to sidestep all of those things and get the easy way to start and grow your business. So some of the things I've done the hard way over these last 30 years, I've traveled the country meeting people in person as I've launched businesses trying to grow them. I've opened up brick and mortar storefronts, hoping people would show up. I've brought products to sell without having people to sell them to. So all the mistakes that businesses make. But after doing this for over 30 years, I've learned 3 core things that I want to help you understand tonight. The first one is that the number of leads you have equals the dollar potential of your business. And I'm going to talk about what leads are tonight. The second one is that you can sell to thousands with the same effort it takes you to sell to one person. And then the last thing is that this can work in any business. The things we're talking about, no matter what business God has put on your heart, these tactics will work for you and enable you to grow that business. But before we do that, I want to take a second and kind of talk about, for me, the spiritual journey and my framework and what it means for business success. And I've outlined them to be three core things: your mindset, your skill set, and your execution set. So I'm going to walk through each one of these and kind of talk about the things that are really important in each of those. I'm going to try and do this so I can still see you guys because I had the things up. Okay, so first, let's talk about your mindset. So for me, success in business, especially success in business as a person of faith, comes down to your mindset, comes down to what you allow yourself to believe, what you have faith in, and how you communicate that faith in action. So I laid out some key things here that have helped me from a mindset perspective to be successful, and I'm hoping that I can impart these onto you tonight. So the first one is, you can't create a business that aligns with God's vision if it's based on your limiting beliefs. I mean that at the end of the day, God has a big vision, and many times we limit God's vision because of things that we're afraid of. So each of you have had an idea. God gave you an idea for some business. And when he first gave it to you, he probably gave it to you at the most inopportune time. You were probably working on something else. You were in a comfortable job, right? But when God gave you that vision, he showed it to you, but you immediately started eliminating it based on your circumstances. God, I don't know where I'm going to get money to fund this business. God, where am I going to get the resources? And what we need to understand is God wants us to have a mindset of, if he puts it on our heart, he's already seen the solution to it. We just have to walk the path. And many people I help, the biggest hurdle they have is they're not willing to walk past their own limited vision about how their business is going to grow. The second one is, your business is the ministry for you and the people it will connect to. So don't limit it by what you name it. So, I'm going to ask, can I coach you guys tonight? Right? We're going to coach. We're going to have a coaching session. So here's what I mean about what you asked. A lot of people think that having a Christian business means that you have to put the word faith, anointed, holy, or that in the title, and that makes it a Christian business. And it doesn't, right? What makes it a Christian business is how you operate and how you interact with people. And the reason I bring that up is because if you think about it, right? Jesus went in and sat with criminals. He sat in the prisons, and he wanted to be on their level so that he can impart to them. A lot of times when we put words that we think are biblical in the title, we alienate people who aren't ready to hear from us from a spiritual perspective, and you're actually limiting your business. So your business doesn't have to be Christian named. Your business has to be Christian owned and run through the spirit of what you're learning. And it may sound small, but a lot of you are having growth challenges because your name is pulling away from someone who's not ready to hear it, versus allowing yourself to go into places and allow the things you operate and how you operate be ministry to that person. So you have to run your business by faith and execution, not by fear and anxiety. So here's what I mean by that. I mean, at the end of the day, many of you, there are things that you could be doing right now that could help you grow your business. So we're gonna use the chat for a second. How many people on here are using video with their face in it to promote their business? If you are, put a 1 in the chat. If you're not, put a 0 in the chat. How many people in here are using AI and learning AI to try and leverage their business? Put a 1 in the chat, put a 0 in the chat if you're not. Craig, how you got 1 and 0? I was like, how you 1 and 0? Oh, you mean 1 for the first one and 0 for the second one. So great. So the reason I bring that up is you'd be surprised how many times I talk to people and they tell me Facebook is the devil, Instagram is the devil, right? They say Chat GPT is going to take over the world, so I don't want to learn it. Well, let me tell you, ChatGPT is not going to lose your business to other people. People who know ChatGPT is going to lose your business to other people. And the reason I bring that up is because at the end of the day, if God's put a business on your heart, you have to leverage the current tools of the day to get in front of people the right way and accelerate your business. And also, I focus a lot on AIs because what people don't understand is that AI is a learning model. So it's going to learn based on the information that is put into it. So if Christians don't put information into AI, then we can't be mad at the output, right? We can't be mad if we're not giving it input. So all of us on here as Christian entrepreneurs not only have an obligation to our business, but we have an obligation to the kingdom to not only be learners of these tools, but to be practitioners so that we have an impact. The same thing with social media, right? I'll meet business owners and they say, I don't go on social media and promote on social media because there's a lot of negative things on social media. Well, how are we supposed to counteract the businesses that aren't operating in a spiritual fashion or the businesses that are trying to exploit people if we're not putting our voice on those platforms? So you have to operate out of faith and execution versus fear and anxiety. And a lot of that is fear of what we think people are going to say. I'll give you a great example. There's a young woman that we know in Florida who's a caterer. And when we first met her, she was trying to break into the catering business. And what she started doing is she started going on Instagram every week and just taking videos of her catering for people. She went from 0 to 550,000 followers just by doing that. And in her post, she would recite scriptures that supported her and things of that nature. So she didn't have to name her business a Christian business. She had to operate as a Christian and operate in the skills that God gave her, and that allowed her growth. But you have to have the faith to do that and understand that there's a bigger calling than you having that fear. The next one is you can't be a good business owner if you're a terrible customer. I'm going to let that sit for a second. You cannot be a good business owner if you're a terrible customer. So what do I mean by that? If you're the person that goes into the place and always wants a discount and always wants someone to give you a little extra, and it's like, why you can't, if your friend has a business and you can't get a hookup, right? Then how do you expect to be a good business owner? Because quite frankly, you'll be the main one that's upset when someone comes and asks you. Think about it. When you start your business and you talk to people who are your friends and they're like, hey, well, I know you, like, I'd love to support you. Can you give me a little discount? You're upset, but you don't think about all the times when you've been a customer and you haven't been a great customer, right? It's the whole thing about sowing and reaping. Are you sowing into people as good customers to reap the fact that you're being a good business owner? And the last one on this is you have to be willing to sow at the level that you want to reap. And that's not just about money. What I mean by sowing into it is, are you sowing into learning the skills that you need to learn to effectively run your business? Are you sowing into modeling, looking at other businesses that are in your space that are successful and learning the tools that they're doing and modeling that behavior? And then it is, are you investing in that growth, right? How can you want to have $1 million business if you're not willing to invest any dollars in learning those skills or learning from people who are doing that well? And you'd be surprised that some people just want to turn a business on, not make any investments of their time, their effort, and their learning, and wonder why it's not being successful. So the second one is your skill set. So the first question I ask you to ask yourself is, what are the skills that you are uniquely anointed to do? I believe that God gave everyone, if not just one, multiple what I call superpowers. And what I mean by superpowers is there is something that you can do that is easy for you that's hard for someone else. And I ask that question because if you know people that are in business, many people don't lean into that superpower, that God-giving anointed skill. They lean into something else and they wonder why their business doesn't grow. But I can tell you that if you lean into your superpower and create your business around that superpower, you will find that the tasks become easier because it's something you're anointed to do. And we all have one, right? There are people out here who can bake a pie in a way that it would take me 6 hours to bake a pie and they can bake it in 2 hours and the pan would be empty. But that's not the business they start. They go start a contracting business because somebody told them contracting is where the money is, right? So the question is, from a skill set perspective, what are the things that you're uniquely anointed to do? The second one is be motivated by God's plan for you and not a plan based on world comparison. So what I mean by that is in this age of the internet, right? You know, you see somebody, everybody sees influencers, but people want to be an influencer, right? When they don't realize that if you do the plan that God gave you, you're going to be a bigger influencer than you could ever be by trying to be someone else, right? You see someone that makes an internet page based on jokes, and all of a sudden you want to do jokes, right? Don't use the world's comparison. Use what God has given you and stay focused and aligned to it. There's a great example of that, and I'm a huge fan of his. So every time I talk, because I use a lot of his stuff, is Myron Golden, right? So Myron Golden is one from unknown to being played in barbershops and everything like that. And what he did was he focused on what he did well, which was help people grow businesses, but he did it from a biblical perspective. He didn't name his company Myron Golden Anointed Enterprises. He didn't say it was spiritual business anointing. He just did his business and influenced God's influence on him. And he is now getting millions of people who would have never thought about biblical principles as it relates to business, model and watch him every day. So that's a clear example of when you follow God's vision versus comparison, right? How you can rise above the crowd. So the last one on here is, and I stole this from him, is operate on input objectives instead of goals. So what do I mean by that? So many of you, depending on where you are in your business life, when we all say we're going to start a business, we make goals. I'm going to make $5,000 by the end of the year, or I'm going to sell X number of my product, or I'm going to get 10 speaking engagements by the end of the year. But the problem with goals is that when we don't meet them in our predetermined timeline, we usually either stop or give up. Versus input objectives. I'm going to go live and talk about my business every week for the next 10 years, right? And whatever happens, happens. But I can guarantee you from experience, if you do that, a couple of things are going to happen. You're going to get better at doing it. You're going to get in front of people who didn't know you before, and something different is going to happen than if you set that goal that's based on a specific timeline and you don't meet that goal. So if you're on here and you're a business owner, the first thing you want to do is say, you know what? I'm not worried about the goals of the business. I'm just going to operate in this thing on a daily basis or whatever time frame that works for you, and be consistent about it and keep doing it. And that's what's going to be the difference. So those are skill sets. So the last one I want to talk about is execution set. And I want to talk about that specifically around tactics that you can use. So execution set means that if you get your mindset right, and you get aligned on your faith, and you make the commitment that you're going to move forward, and then you understand the skill sets that you have, and you've invested and sold in yourself and the strategies that you want to employ, is executing on them. How many people has said they go and start a business every time you talk to them, right? Because they don't have the execution set. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. Oh yeah, don't worry, I'm going to get it going, right? How many people, their business is 10 years old in their head, right? But they don't have the execution set. And the execution set is committing to employing strategies that will move you forward, right? So let's talk and let's dig primarily into these execution sets. So the execution set I want to talk to you about today is, how do you add leads and customers to your business without talking to anyone until they are ready to buy? That's a word right there. If you can grow your customers and your leads without talking to people until they're ready to buy, let's dig into it. So first question, put a 1 in the chat if you want the easy way that you can get leads and customers without ever leaving your house. Well, the first thing I want to tell you is that in the past month, I've gained thousands of new leads in my business, and I didn't have to leave my house. And I know what y'all are saying. Y'all don't believe me. I know. So here's the proof. Here is inside my CRM tool, and that's the total number of customer records I have in my mailing list, which is 25,007. And I want to tell you why that's impactful. It's impactful because if I have access to 25,000 people and I launch a new product tomorrow that costs $1, if I can get half of them to buy, it's $10,000, right? And if I want to cultivate to something that I want to launch in a few months, I now have their attention. right? And if you think about it with many of your businesses, your biggest challenge is you can't get in front of enough people to grow your business. So I got to put this disclaimer out whenever you talk about results. Results are not typical. I'm going to walk you through the mistakes that I've fixed that are helping me create these results, and I'm not guaranteeing you'll reach these results. And actually, most people who attend my trainings don't reach these results because they refuse to take the action to fix those mistakes. So now no one can sue me, so we can keep going. Now we can dig in. So let's talk about the 3 mistakes. So the first mistake is you deliver the sale before you deliver the value. The second mistake is you don't follow up with the leads you have to turn them into customers. And the third mistake is you are not focused on growing your leads, but you're expecting sales. So let's dig in. Mistake number 1, you deliver the sale before you deliver value. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. Go back. Why is this thing going back? Hold on. This thing's jumping. Hold on. How many leads do you have in your business? Put a number in the chat. How many leads do you currently have in your business? And if you don't know what the lead is, say, I don't know. Okay, 13, 4, 8. Okay. So I'm going to define a lead, and we're going to see if that number changes. So what is a lead? A lead is someone you can contact about your business. Ideally, you have their name, email address, and phone number. Now, here's the caveat. See if this number changes. If these people were already your friends and family before you started their business, they don't count. Anyone's number change? Everybody's number stays the same? Okay. We all faith-led people. I believe people are being honest, so we're going to keep moving. So I asked you that question again. How many leads do you have in your business? You guys said the same. So my other question is, how many times do you communicate with them about your business before you try to get them to buy from you? So I want to explain what I mean by that. So many of you started your business, put up your shingle, you went and stood up your table, and you just started selling. Hey, I got this book I just launched. You need to buy it. Hey, I got this service that you should start using, right? But again, remember my thought about being a bad customer. How often have you gone someplace and without any background or knowledge of the product or service, have you just bought something from somebody, right? Very rarely, right? You hold, if you didn't hear about it, if you didn't see a commercial, if someone didn't tell you there was value in it. But many of us create businesses and we jump right into the sale without delivering any value, and we get upset that people don't know that. Now, the question is, what value do you give them to pay for their attention? Because what you guys don't realize is there's a cost to attention. In this world where we have TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, 20 different streaming services, we have 10,000 things that take people's attention and take your attention. When people stop and listen to something about your business, they are paying you with their attention. And many businesses don't understand of what is the value that they're giving them in exchange for paying them for that attention, right? And that's where the exchange starts. If I give you my attention and you jump right into selling me, you've lost that opportunity because I'm not getting a value exchange. So here's some hard truths. So people who don't know you, don't care about you, or do they want to buy from you? Unless you offer a super low price. And the reason is because they don't know you, they don't like you, and they don't trust you because you haven't done the value proposition to build them up. The second hard truth is that you can't expect people who don't know you to buy from you differently than you buy things from other people, what we just talked about. And it sounds basic, but these are the 2 crucial reasons why many small businesses fail. And some of the business that you know are staying in the same spot because they can't get past this part. They can't understand that people that don't know them won't buy from them until you build the trust with them over some effort or activity. So how do you fix this? You want to build as much of a relationship with your potential customers as possible. You want to pay for their attention by giving them content about your business and content that they would normally pay for. So you want to give them a level of value that they would pay for, so that they would say, wow, if they're willing to give me this for free, I can only imagine what the paid stuff will give me. Now, here's the beauty in this, right? If you look at this chart, back in the old days, 30 years ago when I started, it was a lot harder to reach people. You had direct mail that you had to pay for, physical networking. I told you, I used to travel the country, going to conferences, trying to meet potential business partners, etc. Television wasn't even a thought. None of us thought we could run an ad on television. Even radio. I used to work at Radio One. Radio was cost prohibitive. Even the newspaper was too expensive. But here's the beauty of time and change, that everything that's on the left has a version on the right that you can use right now. Direct mail's been replaced with email. Networking has been replaced with Facebook and other social media sites. TV's been replaced by YouTube. Let me give you a stat. 59% of people who watch YouTube watch it on their television as of today. Radio, you can start a podcast tonight. Newspaper, you can start a blog. So any of those channels. So again, going back to your kind of anointed superpower, maybe writing is your superpower. Maybe conversation is your superpower. Maybe being in front of the camera is your superpower. Maybe you have an angelic voice that should be on the radio. Maybe you can clearly articulate your vision in succinct text in a blog. No matter what those skill sets, there is a way for you to start communicating with those people today. So when you build trust with them, you leverage them across all of these different platforms. You create opportunities and put content out there, and you make yourself findable. Many of you, your biggest challenge in your business is that you're not findable outside of the people who already know you, because you're not willing to make that investment across these platforms. You build trust with them by them seeing you on these platforms, because they already trust them. We know we're in this election and people are reading stuff. If they read it on Facebook, it's the truth, right? They trust these platforms more than they trust. People trust Instagram more than they trust the television. So if they trust those platforms and you can get on those platforms at no cost, there's no excuse why you're not communicating your business on those platforms. And the other thing is, you should look at each platform as if you got a network television deal. It's like someone knocking on your door and saying, hey, I'm going to put you on ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, because each one of them have numbers that are bigger than any of those networks, and you have no barrier to entry. The key is going back to operating in faith and execution, is having the faith that if I communicate about my business on a regular basis, the people who need to find me, that God already has them waiting to find me, are going to find me. The more they see you, the more they connect with you, the more they receive value from you, they will be eager to buy from you. Eager. When they think about those different purchase decisions, the person that they see the most is going to pop in your mind. You just have to make sure that that person is you. So here's the example I talked about. Chef Juvina out of Orlando, Florida. 374 posts. Not 3,000, not 374,000. 374 posts got her to 555,000 followers, because she aligned with her anointed gift and showed the world to it. That's all she did. It sounds simple, but it's the hardest thing for people to do. The numbers don't lie. So if you go to her channel, this post in the upper left has 16,000 likes. Her first post has 82. So it goes back to my thing about input objectives versus goals. If she set a goal that she was going to do it until she got 1,000 likes, she would have quit a long time ago. She set a goal that every time I do a session, I'm going to stack my phone in the corner and I'm going to record it and I'm going to put it online to show people what I love to do and what God gave me the skills to do it. Now she has 500,000 people. Her schedule's booked out for months, and now she's trying to figure out other ways to monetize her brand. So what you need to do is give them something to convert them from an engaged follower to a lead. I saw someone put it in the chat a little earlier. This thing's losing its mind. Sorry, hold on. It's called a lead magnet. And I'm here to tell you that no matter what your business is, you can create a lead magnet for your business. Ask me the question at the end. You can't stump me. No matter what your business is, there's a lead magnet you can create that shows people the value and knowledge you have in your business area and allows you to build that relationship with you. And today, with tools like Canva, I can't draw to save my life, but I'm a graphic artist because of Canva, because I just grab a template, change the text, put my photo on there, and I'm off to the races. So there's no excuses, whether it's, a download, whether it's a video on your phone explaining a concept. Like I'm looking at Salama on here. Salama can pick up her phone and do a whole thing about real estate and houses to buy and why not that buy, that immediately communicates her value to me. These are just a sum of examples, but whatever you're in, those are the examples. All right, so that was mistake number one. Mistake number two, you don't follow up with the leads you have to make them a customer. So remember I asked you before, how many times do you communicate with your leads about your business? So I'm gonna ask you in the chat, how many times a week do you communicate with your leads about your business? A week. So here's the Cliff Notes. If you're saying one, that's nowhere near enough. You're putting your entire business growth and goal on a single conversation. I'm gonna give you a scenario. So I love Macy's. I'm gonna just put it out there. I love Macy's. So I'm signed up for the Macy's app. I get the emails. I get a minimum of 5 emails from Macy's every day. This is Macy's. This is $1 million business, right? And they're like, you're gonna know about these discounts, you're gonna know about this sale, and eventually you're gonna click on it. So if Macy's can play those odds and they're a multi-million-dollar business, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Right. Fashion Nova. Some of these sites live in your inbox and they're playing the numbers because average email rates are 10 to 15%. So you're not sending emails thinking you're going to overwhelm somebody. They're not even seeing the email. All right. So we answered that. How often do you follow up? So let me ask this one. How often do you, if someone buys from you, how often do you follow up with that person? Do you follow up with that person? Yeah, the Cliff Notes is probably not enough. Again, if you heard what we talked about before, if the whole goal is to get them to know and like and trust you, the biggest indicator that they know, like, and trust you is that they gave you money. So if they know, like, and trust you and gave you money, you're doing yourself a disservice to not continue to put other products in front of them. They want you to, right? Because remember, you guys know we are very discerning about where we put our money, which is why we go back to the same stores, which is why we buy the same brands, which is why once we make that once that know, like, and trust switch flips, you go down the aisle of 20 different detergents and you reach for the same detergent every time. It doesn't matter if new ones come because you've built that know, like, and trust. So if you're a business owner and someone is giving you money, remember we said first pay you with attention. The second thing is pay you with their money. If they pay you with their money, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not following up with them about other ways to pay you with their money. All right. So here's the question. How long would it take you to develop trust with 1,000 people? Think about it. And the way that you do things now, let me preface it with that. In the way you do things now to grow your business, how long would it take you to build know, like, and trust with 1,000 people? I don't think any of us have that time. This thing is driving me insane, sorry. So there's a thing out here that a researcher named Dunbar, it's called the Dunbar number. And he says it takes 11 hours and 7 interactions for someone to know, like, and trust you. So like, if you like Target, if you like Restaurant X, they have probably cumulatively put 11 hours of interaction and 7 touch points with you. So if you think about how you're doing business now, how long would it take you to build that level of relationship? 11 hours per person, 7 interactions. We all be caught the rapture happen before we get to 1,000 customers, right? We just don't have enough time. So what does that mean? That means we have to change the methodology in which we reach customers to grow our business. So we talked about, how do you do that? So the first thing and foremost, and this is something I want you guys to do tonight, is if you have a business and anyone has ever purchased something from you, write down what that conversation was. What was the conversation? What did they ask you? What did you tell them? What was the piece that finally made them say, hey, here's my money? Because that's an example of your ideal conversation. And if you've had multiple people buy from you, I would write what happened in those different conversations. Because the reason I'm having you do that is we want to be able to mimic that conversation across hundreds, if not thousands of people. And again, about following up with your customers. If they buy from you once, they should again. And again, like I said before, if you think that you're doing it too much, you're not doing it enough. Using my Macy's example. So there's many ways that you can follow up with them. You can use email, you can use text, you can use social, you can even use automated voicemails. Imagine someone sends you an email or takes a lead magnet, gives you their name and phone number, then their phone rings and they get an automated voicemail from you thanking them for that and telling them about your business while you at Starbucks. To the right there is an example of an automation from the CRM tool I use that basically models, sorry, this thing's going crazy, that basically allows me to map out how I communicate with someone over the course of multiple days on autopilot. Once they give me their name and email, I have that ideal conversation mapped out and they're getting emails from me. And it's also set up that if they don't open an email, they get the same email the next day with a different subject line. I set it up once and then I start the campaign. And anytime someone gets added to that campaign, they're communicating with them. And I can do that over email. I can do that over text. I can do that over social. So here's the current numbers. Email, 10 to 15% open rate. SMS, as I think about, it's dropping a little bit. It's down to 70. Instagram DMs, 98%. 98%. We're going to put a Christian phrase on slide into your DMs. So we're going to slide the DMs and grow our business because they're reading them all. All right. And the reason we want to do this is we want to achieve the Dunbar number through online interactions, right? So there's a concept of a funnel. It's wide up top. You send as many people as you can and you whittle them down through increased connectivity, through meaningful interactions, through enhanced social bonds. Then you build trust and relationships. And then you have people who know, like, and trust you who are ready to buy. Now, the thing I will say to you is some of you are doing this already. You're just doing it with too small of numbers. Right? So if you're doing it with too small of numbers, that jumps us into mistake number 3. You're not focused on growing your leads, but you're expecting sales. So again, defining what is a lead. Asking you those same questions. How many leads you have in those business? How many times do you communicate with them? What value do you give them to pay for your attention? And here's the secret of mistake number 3. It's something I call the 10% rule. If you can get 10% of your audience to become leads in your business, then your business can be successful. But the key is to widen your pool of opportunity. It takes the same effort to get 10% conversion from 100 people as it does from 100,000 people. I just want you to think about that for a second. Your effort doesn't change. It just gets mapped to a wider pool. There are 1 million people within a 20-mile radius of Victory in Christ Christian Center. You don't have to be national. You just got to be regional. And the process is leveraging these platforms, creating that content, sending them down, and taking them down. We just need 10%. We need that. We need our goal, our input is 10%. We want to keep pushing till we get 10%. So if we don't get 10% of 100, we're going to go to get 10% of 1,000. We're just going to keep pushing more people through that funnel. 10% of 100,000. Now, the flip side is the more people we put in that funnel, that 10% number gets a lot better. So here's a visual example of the 10% rule, right? So if you're local, you take 10% of 100, right? You're reaching 10 people within, half a block radius of your house, right? As you guys know, sometimes that takes even more work if you're having one-to-one conversations, et cetera. But let's go regional. We go 10% of 10,000 people, right? Let's go national, 10% of 10 million people. Let's go global, 10% of 100 million people. And there's a reason why I started this conversation about operating on faith and execution versus fear and anxiety. Because some people, you put those numbers in, they can't rationalize those numbers with me saying them. But I just told you that there's 1 million people within a 30-mile radius of the church that we go to every week. So we don't even have to go national. We just have to proliferate that audience at that level. So here's 2 lead examples, right? So one is if you get on this QR code, you can go to my free business growth community where I'm putting in tips and strategies to help people grow their business in a free community with other business owners. The other one is if you go to Instagram to my profile right now at Navarrow and you DM me the word network, you'll get a response that'll link you to my business growth community and it'll link you to my YouTube channel where I started a business Bible study. Then the reason I show you these examples is because they're working while I'm sitting here talking to you. So imagine in your business, once you set these systems up and you create methods in which people can find them, they're working for you. They're your employees. And then you get an email that someone's gone through it and they're like, hey, can I book a call? Hey, I bought your thing. Hey, I booked your service. That's how you make your business go exponential. So here, I want to show you something. So I call it millionaire math, AKA abundance math versus scarcity math. So hold on, let me switch my screen. So, all right. Are we ready for millionaire math? Here's millionaire math. So let's say you have a $20 product, right? Come on. And you sell that product. Hold on, let me do this again. And you sell that product to 10 people, right? $200. That's not bad. I'll take $200, right? But that same product, of course, it's not gonna work. Things bugging. Of course, it's not working for me because that's the devil. You send that same product to 100 people, it's $2,000. The product didn't change. It's just the number of people that bought the product. But we serve a big God. Hold on. God doesn't, he doesn't even wrap himself that small. So let me do this again. Of course, my pen is gonna not work. Here we go. All right, let me start this over. This is the devil, people. It is not but the devil. This works all the time. You guys get it. I'm not going to belabor it. But my premise in that is if I go here, My premise in that is it's not about you having to charge a lot of money for your product. It's about you getting your product in front of as many people as possible and having a system that continues to put your product there. And the flip side of that is you could go the other way. Instead of having a $20 product, you have a $200 product. But we all know, right, that know, like, and trust factor goes higher with a higher ticket product. So what I'm trying to show you is that even if you have a product, even if it's a book, right, even if it's a singular service, if you can put systems in your business that allow you to authentically build know, like, and trust with a larger group of people and funnel them down, you don't have to raise your prices. You just have to widen your funnel.
This is great stuff, Navarro. I just want to give an opportunity for people to be able to ask questions. Anybody have anything? Oh, Craig, first.
Hey, Navarro, good stuff.
I appreciate it.
Just a quick comment relative to your millionaire calculations. I kind of use that to kind of project the number of units I have to move to hit 1 million. So I have different price points. Like tofu is, I have like ebooks and everything to get you into the top of the funnel. And as we get down to mofu and bofu, the big ticket items, I have to sell fewer of those items to get. So I can play around with the numbers to see how many units I have to move. So I can kind of visualize and keep myself motivated. So that millionaire math is vital to a business owner. And you got to set up automation. We got to get out of the mindset of trading time for money. Set up the automation on the back end and let your money work for you while you're vacation and then doing other stuff. So I appreciate your wisdom and your insight. It's good to see you, my friend.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And it works for any business. Again, no matter what your business is, using that model will help you grow. Anyone you see that is achieving significant scale, they're leveraging that model. And the biggest struggle for you is, so yes, you need automation. What I tell people when I coach them is first, let's consistently create content about your business and get it out there, because the automation doesn't matter if you're not willing to create your content. And again, God didn't give you a business for it to be small. There's nothing in the Bible that he does is small. So if God gave you your business, he's waiting for you to make it big.
Right. Mm-hmm. Amen.
So Navarro, can you touch on, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
How does somebody overcome the barrier to getting on social media? I know you mentioned we got to get our faces out there. We got to be on social media platforms. And I know a lot of people are very hesitant about taking those initial steps. Can you talk about how to overcome that mindset shift, like create that mindset shift?
Yeah. So, well, first and foremost, when you first start, you don't have any numbers. So it's okay to be bad because no one's seeing it, right? I'd rather be bad at the beginning than bad at the end. And then I think the other piece is, what people don't understand is even when you have numbers, right? So true story, I had this conversation with Erica Campbell like 2 days ago. So she's at, I think, 3 million followers and she's posting about their conference. And she's like, not enough people are seeing it. I don't understand. I'm like, you have to understand organically, most cases, only 3% of your followers are seeing your content unless you're posting on a regular basis, right? So it's not a you and me problem. It's the same problem that someone with millions of followers has. But for you, again, are you doing it based on the vision that God gave you to put you somewhere else? Or are you doing it based on comparison? The reason we don't go online is because of other people. It's not because of us. It's because we like, oh, somebody be like, I saw you online the other night. Your hair wasn't done and it was late. And okay. But you know what? I'd rather be online pushing my business in a forward direction than scrolling my phone and not making any movements in anything I'm trying to do. And that's what the lion's share. Most people are consumers, not creators. The moment you turn your camera the other way, you are in the top 1% to 2% of people on the internet. Most people are consumers, not creators, right? And again, we all know there's enough stories in the Bible about people giving naysayers to people who ended up on top. And then the last piece I'll tell you is, so I've been doing this Bible study, and in Genesis, right? and for everything is new for me. In Genesis, when God created the Garden of Eden, not only did it have fruit, not only did it have trees, it had gold and onyx, and there was no monetary system. So I took from that is that he gave them the things that they would need before they even needed them. But the problem was that the devil had them ignore all that they had, everything they needed. He had them focus on the one thing they don't have, right? So when we start businesses, we don't look around and realize all the things that we have, all the things we need, right? We have people around us, we have an idea, we have a vision, we probably have an execution path, but we focus on all the things we don't have. I don't have a new camera, so I'm not going to go online. When your new iPhone has a better camera than 90% of the cameras in Best Buy anyway, right? There's a clip, I have it in here, that's $13. You buy it, stick it on top of your monitor, and now you got a video studio. The light I have, I purposely buy stuff on the lower end. Like the camera I'm using to talk to you guys now is like $150 4K gimbal webcam. It moves with me and everything else. So I can do everything anybody else can do at half the cost. But the problem is we spend so much time focusing on making things perfect that we miss the opportunity, right? Like there are people, there's someone out there waiting to buy off the messed up video because it's not how you look, it's what you say. It's the skills that you have a skill. Again, anybody tell me their business, I will tell you the lead magnet that you could create tomorrow to gain business because each of you have a unique skill and talent, but you're holding it in based on someone else's expectations. Because I best believe the person that would criticize you on video 1 is going to ask to borrow money when you're on video 57. It's the reality. And the only person that's holding you back is you. It is so easy to start this stuff right now. And you look around, like if you look on, there's this whole new thing on YouTube where people are like starting a YouTube channel over 40, starting a YouTube channel over 50, and they just doing it, right? But again, every day you don't do it is a day it starts over. I can tell you what's going to happen in 10 years if you do nothing. But if you do something different, if you do something every day going forward, I can guarantee it's going to be different in 10 years than it is right now. But the problem is we don't start. Just start. And if you don't set goals, if you're like, I'm going to just do this is what I'm going to do going forward, the same way I go to Starbucks, the same way I go to Dunkin' Donuts, whatever your preference is, that's what I'm going to do. Chef Juvena came on. You guys, you must have heard I was talking about her.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I had a question about the network, the DMs. You said that you have something that you basically like customers can like write a word and then they will send them directly to the link.
Yep. So I use a tool. I've white labeled a tool called the Connected Business. I built it on a platform called Go High Level. And what it is it's called content automation. So you can set it up so that you can say a word. So let's say for you, it was like cook or chef, right? You could say, hey, comment the word chef. Like if you go to my Instagram right now and DM the word network for tonight, you'll get a personalized message based on this event. And you'll see a link to my Bible study and you'll see a link to my free business growth community. You can do that. You can say, hey, I want to give, my recipe of the month. I want to give my recipe out. I wrote it out. I put it in Canva. I made it look pretty. DM the word cook for my recipe. And they go to that. You get their name and email address. Then you can send them emails about your catering. Then you can send them emails about the cooking class I told you you're going to start through the monthly membership, right? So once you have my name, here's the thing from a cost perspective. So if I even run Facebook ads at $5 a day, right? Once someone gives me their name and email address, it doesn't cost me to contact them anymore. If they give me their name and email address and phone number, then it's a bonus because now I have multiple ways to contact it. And the worst thing, the absolute worst thing that could ever happen is that they unsubscribe. And you okay? Because if they unsubscribe, they wasn't going to buy from you anyway. But if they don't unsubscribe, then you haven't irritated them enough. Or they're just like, oh, I may go back. And again, we personalize situations that never happen. We send out emails to 10 people and they don't reply and they're like, we don't want their stuff. But think again, I say, put yourself in the needs of the customer. How many emails you got in your inbox that you haven't opened? Right? Because life gets in the way. Like even online, you pay, somebody sees your video and they want to hit purchase, but somebody rings the bell. and they walk away, but you don't remind them through other mediums because you're like, well, they didn't click on the first time, so they must not want my stuff. Use yourself as the archetype. How many times have you walked away from stuff? I'll see stuff on there and be ready to buy and then walk away and forget. But that's why Macy sends me 5 emails a day, because they're like, you're not gonna forget us. Because you gave us your email. We are paying for your attention by sending you these deeds. You guys don't have that same mentality, and you're upset that your business is not growing. How do you expect if you, and again, Craig talked about this before about modeling your business, right? Like if you sat down and said, like, chef, I'm gonna use you. You have a service business. There's only X number of caterings you can do within a 24-hour period. So you should know that number. So at the end of the day, everything should be done to maximize that number. But if you got 10 openings and you're only talking to 3 people, there's no way you're gonna ever maximize that number versus talking to 100 people and putting the odds in your favor that those 10 people will eventually book up that slot. And then that's how your business grows, because there's a stair-step way of growing your business, right? It's implementation, then it's management, then it's imagination, then it's creativity. The first level is when you're physically using your hands to do work. There's a limit to that. There's only so much money you can make physically using your hands. But if you have a business that's physically using your hand, let's get it to the optimum level. Then you move to management. Management is bringing other people in to work with you. So now you have more people using their hands, right? So if you have a car service, it goes from you driving to having a fleet of cars, right? If you're chef here, it goes from her cooking and catering places to having sous chefs that cater 5 times at the same place. But you got to get there first, right? You got to get there. And then the next level is getting to the point where you have a product that, because people felt the stuff that you did with your hands and did it with your grow, they're willing to buy that product from you, right? Maybe they want to buy the cookbook because they love what you cook so much. Maybe they want to buy a fleet pass where they can call you at any moment because they love driving with you. They don't want to go through the hassle of booking manually. This is how you take a business from just being you to be 100,000, 200,000. But again, most of us get stuck in the physical part. We can't even wrap our mind around, selling 100,000 of something in a month or $1 million of something in a month. But I showed you just in this last hour that it's already out there. You just haven't gone to get it yet.
That's good. Do you have a question? I can't hear you.
You're on mute. We still can't hear you.
She's not muted. Her mic's just not connected, it looks like.
Call on your phone.
Check your audio settings, T.
Or text your question.
Unless she's connected in twice, it looks like.
Any other questions while she gets situated? I'm surprised nobody stumped me and said, here's my business. What's my lead magnet? It's free game.
Yeah, lead magnets, man. That's like printing money.
Oh, so what's your business?
Okay, here's what she was going to ask. What's it?
Educational consultant. What kind of education? I need a little more detail. Health and wellness. Oh, that's easy. Oh, that's easy. So you should start tomorrow putting up a weekly video of a weight loss tip that someone wouldn't think about. Because you just said weight loss is not cookie cutter, right? I would call it that. Weight loss is not cookie cutter. Unusual tips that you would never hear from anywhere else about how you can lose weight. Each week you do a tip. You do a long tip. You do about a 10-minute video. You post that video on YouTube. Then you run that video through one of these tools. If you join my community, I'll show it to you, where you take that video and you cut it into a bunch of vertical clips and you post those clips on Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, pointing all back to that YouTube video. In the YouTube video, you have a link that says download my 5 tips of weight loss, and you send them to something that gives them a name and email address. And you do that for whatever consistency, once a week, every day. Now, here's the thing about consistency. You should never create a consistency that you can't continue with. People was like, I'm gonna do it every day. You know you're not gonna do it every day, so don't say you're gonna do it every day. Do it every week. Do it every other week. It doesn't matter, because what happens is when you do consistency, as people find you, they learn that that's your consistency and they model your consistency. They know that every week you posting something, and then as you get bigger, you can experiment with it. But I would do that every day. If you have all these tips, and again, you're giving away the tips, and they're like, wow, she's giving away the tips. These would cost, but the value is when you start to charge them, it's you showing them how to implement the tips, right? Because people hear the tips and they get excited, they're going to try them. But if they don't have the framework in which to model that into their everyday life, that's a piece of it. So free monthly classes. So the monthly classes, if you're doing free monthly classes, there's a way to do it where you send them to a page and they start watching it, and like a couple of minutes in, you ask for their name and email address. It should all be focused around getting that. And again, everybody's like, well, if I put it here, it's going to cannibalize. Remember, I say each of these platforms is like a different network. So you can put it on YouTube, and then you can put a short form on Instagram and link to a place where they give your email address. You're going to get different people. You're going to get different people. And then maybe if you put one up, you can put a link in your description on YouTube and say, hey, for my whole library, give me your name and email address. And then in the library, you say, hey, here are the first set of classes, but for the additional set of classes, you pay, or you do a membership. There's a whole bunch of ways of doing it. But to me, that's your lead magnet. Your lead magnet is that information that you just start giving it. People will say, wow, I can't believe, and then here's the thing. The other way you can do it is you can give away information and you tell people, hey, use my stuff. All I want from you is a testimonial. Because when you go to sell something, then it's not you saying that it works. There's someone else saying that it works. And again, if you're starting now, people are like, I'm losing. What are you losing? You're not selling it today. What you're gaining is the know, like, and trust factor, and you're gaining arms. Like anyone in the service business can tell you that someone that has bought your service and gives you value is much more valuable than you telling your people about your value. Chef can tell you her biggest advertisers are the people who have used their service. Now, the key is you got to capture those people. And again, all you need is your phone. You don't need a fancy video equipment, etc. If someone gets value, you take out your phone and say, hey, would you say that? Can I record you? And then that's what you post. This person did my thing and did X. And then someone will say, wow, that's valuable to someone who looks like me. Let me go do it. Questions, concerns? I want to be mindful of you guys' time. I know it's late. You're welcome.
I see educational consultant business. I think they're asking for.
And the only thing you have to be mindful of is videos of children. So I would say you do the video of the parents talking about how you help the children, and keep the children stuff behind a paywall, because the internet's real sensitive about putting children on the internet. So that would be my only feedback to you. Any other questions? I hope this was helpful.
I don't have a question, but you just made me think about going back into my leads.
Just now? I've been on for an hour. I just made you think just now? Come on.
No, I'm just saying, like, because I remember when you were on last year in December, and like we briefly spoke, but I do plan on going back into my leads, since my numbers are really insane in my leads, and I'm not utilizing them properly. I just have a hard time marketing in my business properly. Because all the things are there for me and laid out, but I just need to really lock in to doing it.
You don't have a hard time marketing properly. You have a hard time putting yourself in the mindset to market at all. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Because by you saying that, you've already put yourself in the mindset that you can't market. I mean, who told you that? You told you that.
Mm-hmm.
None of us told you that. I didn't hear anybody else on this call tell you couldn't market. You told yourself that. And you just told me you got a lot of leads. So you did something to get those leads. You heard me say the value of someone's attention is getting someone to pay attention. I saw somebody ask a question about, I'm gonna put the link to my community. You can just join. Hold on, because it's free. And I don't just tell you guys to tell you stuff. Everything I tell you, I model. So I'm like, look, create a community, show people value, and then they'll be like, hey, So I try to model the behavior that you should follow. So hold on, let me find the Zoom. Click on that link. You can join, follow the steps. They ask you to introduce yourself, etc. But there'll be classes in there and all of that stuff. And I get a copy of the recording. That's you got to bribe Salama on the copy of the recording. She owns the recording. All right. Any other questions, comments, statements? Again, guys, I hope this was helpful. I know I threw a lot at you. But again, it's all attainable. I wouldn't steer you wrong. You just got to do it. You got to do it. There's many more people who aren't going to do it than the ones who do it. And the ones who do it will be in a different place when we meet again. I can guarantee it. That's one thing I will guarantee is you'll be in a different place. You just got to do it. You got to stay committed. Remember, input objectives, not goals.
I love that. Input objectives, not goals.
Yeah, I stole
love
that from
it.
Myron Golden. I can't take credit. He might sue me. He got a lot more money than I got.
He's phenomenal. I love him too. All right. Thank you so much, Navarro. This has absolutely been phenomenal. And in closing, I want to be able to share, because I know some people came into the room a little bit late. And I just want to remind everybody about the workshop that we have coming up this Friday. This Friday, we're going to be having the Small Business Association guest speaker, Jackie Robinson Burnett. She's going to be talking about how to grow your business through federal government contracting. We all know that the federal government has lots of dollars to spend, and we want to know how we can get that money. This is going to be a phenomenal seminar. It's a free seminar, so there's a QR code on this flyer, or you can go to victoryinchrist.cc/events. And then you're going to be able to get the Zoom link and the information about that webinar. We're going to be hosting on Friday, November the 1st at 7 o'clock. So definitely want you to check that out. Be sure to tune in, and we're going to be happy to engage with you and to learn more about how we can get government grant funds. And I'm just going to close this out in a word of prayer. And again, if anybody wants to stay late in order to learn more about how they can join the core team, I'll stay on for a few minutes to share information about the Victorious Business Professionals Ministry team and my team partners who are here tonight, if they can hang out for a little bit as well. And I'm just going to close in prayer. Father God, we just thank you, Lord. We just thank you, Father God, for the knowledge, the inspiration, and the insights that were shared tonight. We are so grateful, Father, for Navarro's willingness to share his expertise. And we pray that you bless him abundantly for his obedience to your call. As we go forward, Father, may we put into practice everything that we've learned in order to be able to expand our reach and impact for your kingdom. Father, help us to be faithful stewards of the businesses you've entrusted to us, using them as the beacon of hope and truth in a world that needs you. Guide our paths, Lord, and remind us daily that everything we do is for your glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And thank you, everyone, for joining in. And Navarro, thank you so much again. This was a blessing.
Absolutely welcome. Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.
And for those who asked about the recording, we're going to be posting it to our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. The church YouTube channel, actually, Brother Navarro is going to add it to the playlist. And then we're also going to launch it on the Victorious Business Professionals Facebook page.
Thank you.